Going into this game against the Cleveland Browns tomorrow, the Ravens already had no excuses whatsoever. Browns got y'all earlier this season. There was some funny business going on, but y'all cleaned up a lot of the mess that was happening around the first time that y'all played the Browns, and y'all have been looking like a much different team ever since. Ravens already had no excuses to take care of business, but then it got announced, and of course, no offense against him because he's in the NFL. I'm not, never was even close to being, but Bailey Zappe is the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. And say, for instance, craziest case scenario, say, for instance, he doesn't even finish the game and Dorian Thompson-Robin gets to the game. Like, Ravens, y'all are at the crib. Y'all going against Bailey and Dorian. Y'all have no reason, none. And again, it ain't no offense against them because they in the league. I'm sitting here in the chair talking about them. So shout out to them. But Ravens, y'all have no excuse to not handle this game significant, to not win this game significantly. Obviously, the AFC North is on the line. The home playoff game is on the line. And if you take care of business, you get at least one with the possibility, depending on how some other things shakes out, to get even more than one home playoff game. But of course, in order to get that, you got to get your home playoff game, and then you got to win your home playoff game, which I expect them to, but you got to take care of your own business. But it's a possibility that you could get more. We'll talk about that later. But Ravens, no excuses at all. But you know what's crazy? That ain't even what we here to talk about today. Team, keep it clean so we can get into it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Turn them notifications on. Let's get to 81,000 subscribers. Shout out to our guy, Tez Walker. But subscribe, turn them notifications on, and leave a like on the video because it helps out a ton. Happy Purple Friday. It's game day tomorrow. But before we even talk about the game tomorrow, let's talk about all these previous games from this season that helped us get to this point. But get to what point? The Pro Bowl. The Pro Bowl is it's an honor for a lot of these players because it shows like, okay, fans respect your game, coaches respect your game, and other players, they respect your game. And that's how the voting is split up, fans, players, and coaches. Now, the Baltimore Ravens have a league-leading 9 Pro Bowlers. Now, there are some names that were expected, but not to be taken for granted at all, like Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, Pat Ricard, Tyler Linderbaum, Roquan Smith, Marlon Humphrey. Ooh, that was a surprise to me. Because Marlon Humphrey, not surprised because he's not a good player, because he's an amazing player, but a surprise because he's not a very popular player, at least I thought. But again, it's one third the fans voting. So fans, they got that little chunk, but then the other 2/3 is players and coaches, so that makes it make sense. And then Kyle Hamilton too. But some surprise names on this list. Namdi Meta, BK2. I said, okay, I like that. But the one that shocked me the most, the one that we should all be super, super proud of too, Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers. Now, the thing about this, when I first saw that it was announced Zay Flowers was a Pro Bowler, I said, Zay Flowers is making history because Zay Flowers is the very first Baltimore Ravens wide receiver selected to the Pro Bowl as a wide receiver, because we've had some return men selected to the Pro Bowl, like Jacoby Jones, he was one of them, and Jermaine Lewis, he was the other two. So Zay Flowers, he's making history. The first one selected as a wide receiver for the Baltimore Ravens. And I saw one of my guys on Twitter, Kyle Hamilton season, he said, oh, this it's nice, but this is a sad stat. And I said, hey, that's real. It is. But I said at the same time, we got to start somewhere. So we happy for Zay Flowers. And this says a lot to me about Zay, because it says a lot to me about how the NFL world feels about Zay. Because like we said earlier, only 1/3 of the votes for Pro Bowl is from the fans. Only 1/3. There were some other wide receivers that had better numbers than a Zay Flowers. More yards, more catches, more touchdowns than a Zay Flowers that did not get voted to the Pro Bowl. But who are those other 2/3 of the votes from? From players and from coaches. So that lets us know how they really feel about Zay Flowers. So shout out to him for making history. Shout out to him. I remember he had FaceTime his dad and his family once he got that call, once Eric DeCosta let him know, like, hey, you did it. But Eric DeCosta did tell him, like, you made the Pro Bowl, but we got some other plans. And Zay told his people too. And shout out to Zay Flowers' family, man. I remember I had the privilege of meeting his father and a lot of his family at Zay Day down here in South Florida. And I'm telling you, man, they were super nice. And I was honored myself because his father had actually told us that he watched the videos. And I was like, oh, okay, that was like, whoa, that shocked me. But it just gave me a nice reminder, man, just to you never know who's watching, but to always treat people like people, because these people who we talk about every single day, these different football players, whether they play for the Ravens or whoever, they got families, their sons, their brothers, their cousins, their uncles, their fathers, their all that stuff, man. So they are people at the beginning and end of the day. So treat them with respect. Treat people with respect. So I try my best to do that on here. We try our best to do that on here. And that's that, man. I just wanted to share that with y'all. But anyway, Zay Flowers, when he called his people, he told them, like, hey, we going to the Pro Bowl. But he said, hold up, we might have some other plans. And they were just sitting there like, huh? What are you talking about? And he told them, he's like, man, y'all looking at me like I'm crazy or something. But I'm talking about we trying to go to the Super Bowl. And like, okay, yeah, there we go. But amazing for Zay Flowers. Now, he wasn't the only shocker that we got when it came to the Pro Bowl, because we got some alternates as well. Mark Andrews was actually voted as a Pro Bowl alternate. And I said, that's surprising. I would have figured that he would have been on that list as one of the Pro Bowl starters. I mean, again, with the Pro Bowl, we not worried about playing there, but just to get that vote, just to be on that list is nice. And for a lot of these guys, it gives them more money. Because we've talked about this throughout the season when it comes to different Pro Bowls and whatnot, that Pro Bowl is not looked at so seriously, but at the same time, it helps a lot of these guys on their paychecks when it's time for contract negotiations. If you could say, hey, I'm a 2-time, I'm a 3-time, 4-time, 5-time, whatever Pro Bowler, even a 1-time Pro Bowler, oh, that gives you some more money right there off top. So that's something to think about. But anyway, Mark Andrews is on the alternate list. Ronnie Stanley, he was on the Pro Bowl alternate list. Chris Board for special teams. Calvinoy, who has been balling this season, he was on the alternate list. Long snapper Nick Moore, Justin Tucker. Now that's a surprise right there. Now, because the saying goes, it's not about how you start, it's about how you finish. But in NFL, I always say, like, it's a mix of both. It's everything. It's including how you start, and it includes how you finish too. And Justin Tucker, Pro Bowler this year, I don't know about that. He finishing like a Pro Bowler. He certainly is, but it's okay. But the biggest surprise on here, Daniel Falele. Daniel Falele was selected as a Pro Bowl alternate. And when I saw that, I said, oh, okay, Falele. Now, remember, again, 1/3 is fan voting. So, could have been a lot of Ravens fans been like, hey, shout out to Falele. But again, the other 2/3 coaches and players, that says a lot about how they view Daniel Falele, in my opinion. To even be considered an alternate, like, that's still like a lot of significant praise for Falele. So I guess they see something in him where they like, oh, okay. All right, Falele, we see what you're doing. It's your first year playing guard. I know there have been some struggles and whatnot, but they see the potential. So shout out to Daniel Falele, because that was something serious. Now, continuing with Pro Bowl, and we talked about money when it comes to the Pro Bowl. Brian McFarland, he brought out some really, really good points when it comes to exactly that. He said this is the second Pro Bowl selection for both Kyle Hamilton and Tyler Linderbaum. So shout out to Super Duper Kyle and shout out to Linda Flender. Amazing players. Those guys, they were literally perfect first-round draft picks. They have been outperforming being first-round draft picks. They have outperformed however much money they getting paid. They have outperformed all of it. But Brian McFarland said this will push both of their fifth-year options in 2026 to the 2025 franchise tag level. Those will be approximately $20 million and $25 million respectively. Ooh. And he said both will be eligible for long-term extensions after Saturday night. So right after this regular season ends, then both Super Duper Kyle and Linda Flender, Kyle Hamilton and Tyler Linderbaum, they'll both be eligible for contract extensions as soon as the regular season is over for the Baltimore Ravens. They can get their bread. And boy, like, I know Jeff Rebick, he talked about it too. We've been talking about it for the past like year and a half as well. We know as soon as they're eligible, like Ravens, they better get on it. They better get on it because for both of them, the price is only going up. Only. We've been saying this for years. The price is only going up. So Ravens, I mean, y'all know already. I know EDC knows already. Like, oh man, this the price you pay when you select some great players. And this is a great situation to be in. I can't call it a problem because it's not a problem if you have great players and they want to get paid and they should get paid. So, ooh, boy, EDC, look, and I know he's gonna handle it. But if he mess around and wait, we'll let them play out their contract. We'll let them play to the 50-year extension. I don't think they will do that because, again, both of them have already shown, like, they both like that. But if you mess around and wait, again, it's only going to go up. So the sooner EDC and them get it done, the better for them. Now, also, speaking about money and the Pro Bowl, Marlon Humphrey said he earns a $250,000 incentive for making a Pro Bowl. So Marlon, the veteran on the squad, well, one of the veterans on the squad, who has been playing some amazing football, he gets another reward for it, which is well-deserved. I just love when we can start a video off, especially on this beautiful Friday, and just with such great news that we got about the Baltimore Ravens. Shout out to all the Baltimore Ravens, Pro Bowlers, the alternates, all that, really the whole squad, because the turnaround this year has been crazy. Now let's talk about some injury updates with the Baltimore Ravens. Pat McCarry, yesterday he returned to practice, so that was good. He had been dealing with that illness, that little offensive line illness that had been going around, but it seems as if they're getting a lot better, which is great. They said the only Raven that was not practicing was Justice Hill. Now Harbaugh did say that with Justice Hill, he hasn't been on the field since he sustained the concussion again on December 21st. But Harbaugh did say that it's not the concussion that's keeping him away. He said the only reason that he's listed with the concussion on the injury report is because he hasn't practiced yet. But he said it's an illness that's been keeping him away. But they actually ruled out Justice Hill for this Browns game, so he will not be playing. So it's still going to be the Derrick Henry, the Rasheen Ali, and the Keaton Mitchell show. So that's that. With Jalen Armour-Davis, he also got ruled out of this game with a hamstring injury, and I think it was the same hamstring injury that he got. Like Harbaugh said, it was literally right before the Giants game. Right before, he said they were doing pregame stuff, and then Jalen Armour-Davis sort of came up limping a little bit or holding his hamstring. Something happened, and then so they had to rule him out because they said he was actually going to be in that game, but they had to rule him out and make some changes. And hey, that's NFL, man. Things could happen so quickly, just like that. Charlie Kohler and Pat McCarry, they listed on the injury report as questionable, so they should be good to go. But Rasheen Ali, who returned to practice this week, Nelson Aguilar, who returned to practice this week, Nnamdi Madubuike, who returned to practice this week, and Ronnie Stanley, who also returned to practice this week, all after missing days. They don't have any injury designation, so they are officially good to go. Man, I don't know why today I'm just like in like an extra great mood. Maybe it's because the game is tomorrow, so I don't know. Maybe just the weather is nice. Whatever it is, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Again, let's get to 81,000 subscribers. Shout out to Tez Walker. Now, we have reached my favorite part of these videos where we get to feature your questions. If you would like to take part in it, you can send an email to teamkeepitclean@gmail.com. Or if you're a Team Keep It Clean patron, you can send a DM right on there. If you would like to join the Team Keep It Clean patron, you can go to patreon.com/Ingravenvids. Or if you want to send it in a unique way, you can send it directly to our P.O. Box. The address is listed down below in the description, as are so many ways that you can support the channel. Now I got to give a special shout out to the newest Team Keep It Clean patron, Kabrion. I love that name. Kabrion, that is such a unique and such a nice name. So shout out to you. And I appreciate you becoming a Team Keep It Clean patron. And I love this because Kabrion is getting us started. He said, "Hey, Ingraven. Hey, K, what's up, man?" He said, "Hope you and the family are well. I've been subscribed to you since 2019. Oh, whoa. Appreciate it. So MVP season. You the MVP today." He said, "When I first became more prevalent to sports media and you were the first Ravens creator I saw really digging into the games and the players, and it hooked me." Oh, I appreciate that. I really, really do. For our channel, for this channel, and again, our channel, not my channel, our channel, one of my favorite things, obviously, we love the games. Love watching the games, love talking about the games. And y'all know, I ain't no like super film guy. I can't tell you all the X's and O's. I can't tell you what type of defense or offense they play. That's not me at all. I'm just a fan. I'm just a fan. But I enjoy sharing our point of view, and then enjoy sharing you all's point of view, especially with your questions. But I also love the business side too. I love digging into the business side of football just as much as I love watching the games. And I love seeing how the business side of football, the off the field stuff, impacts the on the field stuff. The contracts, the signings, the releases, the all types of stuff, man. I love it. So I appreciate you. Anyway, I know that ain't really had nothing to do with what you were saying, but he said, this is my first message on Patreon because I have finally grown people money. I finally have grown people money and wanted to support. So appreciate you, man. He said, I'm happy to see all the growth from the channel and pray more success comes your way for you and your family. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. He said, anywho, my question is, how can you be so sure that this is the team to go to the Super Bowl? What makes this team stand out in your opinion? Oh, that's a lovely question. I love it. I'm sure you've been hearing me say, like, this is the year. Just everything that's lined up. Last year was looking like it, but I guess everything just wasn't lined up for the Ravens because it was 11 years after they won the first Super Bowl, or 24 years actually after they won the first Super Bowl, and it's got to be every 12. So this year would be every 12 years. They love winning their Super Bowls in the South. They back in New Orleans. They're getting the Super Bowl back in New Orleans. But really, seriously though, what Kyle Hamilton said, that's really what stuck out to me the most. Battle tested. These Baltimore Ravens are battle tested. Last year they really weren't too much. But this year they certainly have been. And they've gone against all the teams in the AFC in the playoffs. They've lost some really tough games. They've won some really tough games. They've had games where, hey, the defense, they ain't doing much of nothing. They've had games where the offense ain't been doing much of nothing, but they've had games where they have shown like they can get it done. Even if all three phases of the game ain't playing on the same page, they could still get it done. They've been down by scores. They've been down by multiple scores in different games, and they've come back. They have had some games where they've been down and they haven't come back. They've had some games where they've been up and they've ended up losing, but you mix all that together, again, with the health of this team, you see the football that Lamar Jackson is playing. He's playing the best football of his NFL career. Like, he is like crazy, and there have been plenty of times where he sat out. And so he putting up crazy, insane numbers, and he ain't even been playing the whole season like that. He been sitting out some third and fourth quarters and whatnot. So that's something to consider as well. But this team, the way that Lamar's playing, the way Derrick Henry playing, the way the offense is rolling, the way the defense, they turned this thing around, they got no reason, no choice but to win a Super Bowl this year. I don't know what happened. I don't know what the recent surge was, but it's crazy because literally like 2 days ago, we had got caught up with all the questions, and I'm sitting there like, oh yeah, we did it, especially going into the game on Saturday. But something happened over the past day and 2 days where y'all just sent a flood of emails, and I've been like, oh my. So if your question isn't answered before the game on Saturday, please don't be offended, because it's a lot, but we'll get to it afterwards. I appreciate your patience. I appreciate y'all. Let's get into the next question. It came from another Team Keep It Clean patron, my guy, Hoodie Megatron. Oh, this is a record for you, Hoodie, because usually you send just a quick question and whatnot, but this one, anyway, get into what he said. Ingraven, so I'm currently watching The Facility. I love that show. I love it. I don't always agree with their different takes, but that's what you watch any show. You may enjoy it, but you ain't gonna always agree with what they saying, but you can still enjoy it. Anyway, he said, I'm currently watching The Facility, and this MVP debate is the worst debate ever, in my opinion. Shady and Chase don't acknowledge the fact that Lamar has done more with less, and I don't appreciate it. They literally just switched careers. Josh had playmakers and Lamar didn't. Now Lamar has the playmakers and Josh doesn't. Like, this debate is so wishy-washy. Now, I'm not saying that Josh doesn't deserve it and he has every right to get the award. They always allude to Josh's playing with nobodies, but was this the case when Lamar was doing this? Just asking for a friend. Yeah. A lot of the media, they never talk about that. And I don't want to call people nobodies, because they're not nobody. They in the NFL. So you made it to the league, you ain't no nobody. And you out there playing, you ain't no nobody. Even if you just make the roster alone, even a practice squad, you are not a nobody at all. But with Lamar, he's been doing this with not as much talent as a lot of other guys. And then with Lamar, I think and I was just talking to somebody about this the other day. With Lamar, it seems like what they're trying to do to sort of justify giving the award to Josh Allen is discredit Lamar and be like, oh, well, he just got it last year. He got it in 2019. Oh, Lamar got Derrick Henry, man. Derrick Henry, he got all them yards and da-da-da. He got a Hall of Famer. Oh, that makes his job easier. Which it does make his job easier. And that's what we've been wanting for years. But Lamar also makes Derrick Henry's job a lot easier, too. It works both ways, not just Derrick Henry to Lamar. But anyway, so I've been seeing a lot of that. Anyway, he also said, I appreciate James Jones for always sticking his neck out for Lamar because nobody else sees it. But James, I try not to watch the media, but it upsets me when I hear the analysts always say there's a knock on Lamar in the MVP race. And I think that they just really prepping. They prepping everybody for what looks like it's probably going to be on the way for them voting for Josh Allen and them being like, oh, no, Josh Allen is the MVP. It just feels like, not that there's an asterisk if he gets it, but it feels like they're just trying to find a lot of reasons to give it to him. And Josh Allen is a baller. We always talk about that. That man is a baller for sure. And what he's been doing is amazing. One thing I will say, I did see a Bills fan talk about, he was talking about, why Josh Allen should win the MVP award over Lamar Jackson. And then he went to, he's the only player in history with like over 40 touchdowns the past 5 years. And I'm thinking, hold up. What does history like the past 5 years got to do with right here, right now, this year? But anyway, I just thought that was funny. He said that, like Derek is not taking anything away from Lamar. I genuinely, and I might get some hate for this, but I'm going to be bold and say it. I hope Josh can take home the MVP so Lamar can just put a spanking on teams in the playoffs. Look, if Josh gets the MVP, if Lamar even got the MVP, which I hope that he still does, that don't and should not stop him from beating teams in the playoffs. Oh, I got my MVP award. All right, we done. No, not at all. Not one bit. Anyway. He said the disrespect is real. They just play it off as honest answer, but y'all continuously bash Lamar for now having a superstar team and praise Josh for having a trash team. Even though he don't. And everything starts up front with that offensive line. Them Bills, they got them offensive line. Don't they? They really do. He said it's backwards, and I really do hate it. I know hate is a strong word, but it fits how I currently feel. We appreciate you sharing that, Hoodie. Next question came from my guy, Droid 209. Man, it's been a long time, my friend. Hope you and your girl, y'all doing good. Hope everything is great with you, my friend. Anyway, he said, what's good, Unc? He got the Unc thing. Oh, yeah, we older. Now, anyway, he said, I know it's been a minute with questions, but raising 2 kids ain't easy. I feel you. You ain't lying, my friend. That is real deal right there, but congrats to you, man. Keep doing your thing. He said, hope you and your family New Year's is starting off with a bang. How do you feel about Calvin being snubbed? 11.5 sacks isn't easy, and brother's been balling at the age of 33. Yeah, that's something right there. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. You'd ask me before the season, how much sacks you think Calvin gonna get after getting 9 or 9.5 last year? I would have probably been like, 6.5, something like that, maybe 7, nothing crazy like that. Because to expect him to do what he did last year, to do even better than what he did last year, even though we did talk about how this year it's a possibility that Kyle Vanoy could be even better and more prepared because, and we talked about this past offseason when the Ravens re-signed him, because last year they signed Kyle Vanoy after week 3. This year he's got and he balled out, and he just came out of nowhere from on the couch to the Ravens after week 3 last year. But this year he had the whole offseason with the Ravens. So he had an entire offseason being with them, being in the building and all that. And it showed. It's really, really shown in his game. Anyway, he said also with the numbers between Mark Andrews and Travis Kelce, it makes me believe Mark was snubbed as well. Andrews has 10 touchdowns with 619 yards. Kelce has 823 yards with 3 touchdowns. Oh, my goodness. I didn't know it was like that bad. Whoa. He said, that is crazy. Yeah, then you have Lamar as third string behind Joe, who he beat twice, and Josh, who was dominant with the dominant victory. What are your thoughts? Oh, was Lamar third in voting? Was he? Or were you looking at that list that was in ABC order? Because Josh Allen is A, Joe Burrow is B, and Lamar Jackson is J. But either way, I don't really care. Like with Lamar, with him, we ain't gonna be playing in no Pro Bowl. Like having a Pro Bowl on your resume is nice, But whether you first string, second string, third string, it don't matter because you're going to be no string. Next question came from Memphis. Mitch, what's going on, baby? He said, what's up, Unc? I'm new to the channel. I've been watching since like 2 or 3 months now, and every upload I watch it from start to finish. Well, I appreciate that because I know these don't be no 2-minute videos. And you know what's crazy? A lot of before, my intention was to go in, talk about whatever we was talking about, maybe for 10 minutes, maybe 15, but it always ends up being like 30 minutes. And obviously because we talk about whatever the main topic of the video is, and we get into other stuff, but then we get into the questions and whatnot, and it just ends up being so much fun, man. It really does. So y'all know we could literally talk about this forever, as y'all know, because we be talking about it forever. So the fact that you watch every video from beginning to thank you very much for doing that, man. I appreciate it. He said, a question I've been wanting to ask is, how do you feel about facing the Lions or Eagles or Vikings in the Super Bowl? Me personally, I'm starting to get a little worried about the thought of it. Let me know what you think. And also, my opinion on the MVP race, I'd rather have Josh win it than Lamar win the Super Bowl MVP. Congrats on 80K and hashtag Go Flock. I appreciate it. Why can't Lamar have both though? Ain't no problem with having both. I get what you're saying, but I don't think there's anything wrong with him having both. But anyway, back to the first part. Like, I don't care about who they will be playing, because they obviously they got to get there in the first place, and getting there is hard enough. But once you do that, like, you can't worry about the opponent. You got to just take care of business. You're going to have 2 weeks to prepare for them. They're going to have 2 weeks to prepare for you. And that's that. Like, you got to handle what you got to handle. So whether it's against the Vikings, whether it will be the Eagles, the Lions, whoever, Ravens would have to take care of business regardless. Next question came from Roller Plane or Crash. He said, what's up, Ingraven? I'm watching a video where you quoted Roquan Smith's account of the defense's improvement after Kyle Hamilton played less in the box and made remarks about Eddie Jackson and Marcus Williams not getting the proper job done. Right. Roquan Smith, when he alluded to like, hey, like, since Kyle Hamilton been back there, I ain't had to communicate with them nearly as much and whatnot. And yeah. Anyway, he said, this isn't a question, but in basketball, elite players or the best shooters are often given a green light by the coach to shoot when they see it, even if it strays away from the game plan. Steph Curry has a green light because he's Steph. In football, Lamar has a green light now that he has the keys to the offense. Defensively, the elite safeties are given green lights to stray away from coverage to make plays. But it's more like leeway because too many busted plays makes a losing team. We've seen Ed Reed where he jumped a lot of plays but was out of position and got beat, especially later in his career. Oh, you know what's funny? I was just I just posted it on Instagram too on my story that with Ed Reed, because Joe Flacco was talking about Ed Reed. And he was talking about how smart Ed Reed was and how he would go just gunning for somebody if he knew the ball was going that way. And a lot of times he was right, but there will be some times where he was wrong and they'll give up a touchdown because it's just funny timing. Anyway, he said, we've also had Earl Thomas who maybe abused his green light leeway and it became detrimental when things boiled over in a practice that led to his release. Yeah, and you know what's crazy? I know a lot of Ravens fans, they don't think Earl Thomas was good for it. I think Earl Thomas was really good for the Ravens overall. I really do. And I know a lot of Ravens fans, especially since everything that happened, especially with him and Chuck Clark, a lot of Ravens fans, oh, Earl Thomas, he became a fullback for Derrick Henry, which he did. But all Earl Thomas was doing, he was just trying to recruit Derrick Henry to the Ravens. This Earl Thomas was doing long-term planning. So shout out to ET, man. We appreciate you because we finally got him after all these years. But anyway, Earl Thomas was not a bad player for the Ravens, in my opinion. But anyway, continue. He said Eric Weddle as well. But he was just aging and health took a toll with us. Oh, yeah. With Eric Weddle, up here, he had it all. He was extremely smart, but his body couldn't catch up to his mind because he's just getting older. So, yeah. But anyway, he said, my point is, safeties are extremely bright. Marcus Williams and Eddie Jackson built their names through solid play. That's true. That's true. He said, I don't believe they misunderstand the playbook. They were relatively healthy, and age isn't looked at as a factor with them. I feel like the Ravens gave them leeway as solid veterans, and they may have been too stubborn to conform to the game plan as veterans. For example, Earl Thomas. And then they got benched for poor play and ultimately released. You think that could be the case? Well, they gave both of them leeway. Now, I know with Marcus Williams, he's a ball hawk. He was. So what you're saying, it does make sense. With Eddie Jackson, he was known as a ball hawk too. But I couldn't see the Baltimore Ravens signing Eddie Jackson and giving him so much leeway, especially first year in this defense with this defense. Anything's possible, but giving both of them leeway, like you said, they smart, which they are. I don't know. He said, we see how the defense looks without them, and this is Zach Orr's first year as defensive coordinator. And we see players like Kyle and Roquan with green lights that also stick to the plan. Outside of people saying Roquan might look slower this year, he's been doing his job still. He has been, and he certainly, in my opinion, he turned it around. Because earlier this season, to me, he didn't look good. He did not look good at all earlier this season. I was somebody who definitely said he looked slower. He just didn't look himself, and it could have been overthinking. It could have been the whole communication thing that he even brought up a couple of weeks ago when he talked about what you started this question off with. So that could have been a big part in it, because I was just talking to Carter, my son, about it yesterday, because we went to the playground and we were playing soccer and stuff, and I was telling him how to kick the ball. And I told him, hey, I said, do a kick for practicing passes and stuff. So you know how you got to kick with the side of your foot when you're passing the ball in soccer. But then I told him, I said, I want you to do just a powerful kick. I want you to boot it, just knock it out. Just because I wanted him to practice the power on his kicks. So sometimes he would run up to the ball, and then when he would get to the ball, he would hesitate a little bit. He would slow down, and then he would kick it. And I said, Carter, you can't do it. You cannot hesitate, and you can't second think. You can't overthink. You can't second guess. Because that's how you get hurt. And that's how bad plays end up happening. And that's what I think it might have been happening with Roquan Smith. Maybe he was overthinking. Maybe he was second guessing, especially because on the back end, things weren't all the way clear. And that could have been end result of that. Then he didn't look so good. And the whole defense didn't look so good. So just maybe. Anyway, he said, I hope people are fully rethinking their takes from even a month ago regarding our defense. Oh, I'm sure there's been plenty of conversation on that for sure. Next question came from my guy Darren. I think this is his first question. So he said, I just want to address this idea that Lamar Jackson is offensive player of the year and Josh Allen is most valuable player of the year. Now, saying Allen is the most valuable player to his team, when I was under the impression it was the most valuable player of the league. If it was MVP of a team, then there will be 32 MVP awards per season. Hey, Lamar Jackson, he just got MVP of the Ravens. They just say, hey, you're our local MVP. So they do have local MVP awards, but we talking about MVP of the league. He said Lamar Jackson is the MVP of the league for many reasons: stats, leadership, character, which means he should be awarded MVP. So from a hometown Baltimore brother, much love to the Ravens fans worldwide. I wish the team keep a clean family, much prosperity, success, and happiness, which will come with a Ravens Super Bowl in 2025. And just like 2024, I'm out. Hey, appreciate that, Darren. Next question came from my guy Simeon. He said, hey, Raven, hope you and the family are all good. There's something I've been thinking about since I keep seeing so much talk about who should be the MVP this season. A lot of people seem to be talking about how Lamar isn't even an MVP of the Ravens, saying that Derrick Henry is the real reason they've been so good this season. Yeah, we have been seeing that a whole lot. He said, so here's my question. If the King is responsible for the Ravens' success this year, then how come Lamar's numbers are better than ever? Personally, I think Henry's success in Baltimore should be used as a reason for Lamar to get that third MVP, not against. Henry's numbers have been so good, you could be forgiven for assuming that Lamar had a quiet year because Henry was going off so much. Ooh, that's a good point. Wow. I ain't never think about that before. Because if Henry was like, yeah, that's a really, really good point. And they do, of course, they help each other out a lot, but that's a good point, because if Henry was the MVP, if he was like just that guy, well, and he is like that. He obviously, we love Derrick Henry. But the way that people talk about Derrick Henry, yeah, you would think that, oh, Lamar ain't gonna really be doing nothing then. That's all Derrick Henry. That's all the king. He handling business, and Lamar he just a contributor, but he's not the guy. But yeah, you look at Lamar's numbers, and his numbers say otherwise, and watch the games too, and his impact says otherwise too. That is such a good point. Oh, my goodness. He said, but he's actually thrown for the most yards and touchdowns of his career with a game to go. Man, you have made one of the best points in this whole MVP argument. My goodness, I ain't even got no response. You just said it all. This is perfect, man. He said, congrats on the 80K subs, too. Hey, appreciate that, Simeon. He said, keep grinding to make 2025 your best year yet. The upcoming Ravens Super Bowl win next month will certainly help with that. That'd be nice. And he said, just like Henry's cheeks in that Bengals game earlier this season. I'm out. Next question came from Aquavione. I love that name too. Look, I had Kabrion earlier, which loved that name, got us started off, and Aquavione to close us out. I appreciate you, man. He said, this is a moment. What's good, team? Keep it clean, man. Hey, may God bless you and your success on achieving 80K. Hey, I appreciate that a whole lot, man. It ain't my success. It's y'all. It ain't me. It's y'all, it's us, man. So don't forget that, because y'all are a huge part of this. Y'all are the part of this. Not even a huge part. Y'all are the part of this. Y'all are this. not a part. Y'all are this. So anyway, continue. He said, it's a blessing to watch your channel grow, and I enjoy the content you bring to the channel. Last time I wrote to you, I asked about the struggle concerning between the Ravens offensive line and wide receiver core in the beginning of the season. And even though the offensive line is still a little shaky, yeah, they are a little shaky. He said, I can honestly say it feels good to be back in the winning column and back in the playoffs. That's true. Because they started off 0-2. They started off 0-2, and it wasn't looking good, but we still figured the Ravens, they're going to be all right. But when you start 0-2, ooh, that ain't pretty, my friend. But then they went on a 5-game winning streak, and then for the most part, it's been up from there. He said, I don't have a question to you, but I would like to say the Baltimore Ravens are the 2024 NFL champions, and Lamar not only MV3, but he's also the 2024 MVP finalist. And this is not me speaking out of my mind. This is just me speaking what I know from watching that last year AFC Championship game. Offense been getting better and better since Lamar signed that big deal. And let's not even start with the defense that finally found their mojo now. Yeah, they made them changes, and it's been nice ever since. He said, people, let's not forget who all left the Ravens last year, and we're still playing historically with a lot of new faces on the team. And also, if Tush pushing to get a 1-yard rushing touchdown almost every game is your way of saying Josh Allen's the MVP, then you're more delusional than the average woman with a BBL walking in South Beach, Florida. Oh, boy. You ain't got to take no shots at South Florida down here. Like, come on now. But I get your point, though. Anyway, he said, team, keep it clean. Love y'all. Happy New Year. And just like the Dallas Cowboys not getting that playoff spot, I'm out. What a perfect way. Minus the BBL, but what a perfect way to end the video.